Islam, peace and love. I know just from the title of this one here, I'm gonna get a lot of trolls. I'm gonna get a lot of righteous Moors riled up for no reason, you know, not knowing where I'm going with this video by the title, and then it's also me being me. I'm a Pisces by sun sign. I'm a Gemini by moon sign, so I'm a double double. So I see things in every argument from both perspectives. So I'm gonna just try and shine some light on this situation because I get it all the time. So, new email, pop it open. Islam, Mo, where's my paperwork? I need to hurry up and get that because I gotta go to court. Or Islam, Noble, I need to hurry up and get a nationality card so I can go to court. I gotta beat this case. A lot of people talk about it and things of that sort. So I really want to go in and give some clarity because I have to break the thought process of a lot of people that have that. So for all my righteous Moors, you already understand where I'm coming from with this. But I'm gonna try and shine light on both sides of a situation because I know people do need help in court. There are people that do need the remedy. There's nothing wrong with that if you really do, because the way the system is set up, I mean, we really are the victims. There really is conspiracy going on. But at the same time, you have to stay in honor at all costs. So the extent into which I even help people with issues in court, is, slightly different from some of the other Moors that I've dealt with in the past, because there are some Moors that feel like their status is everything. Their status as a Moor alone itself, you show up with a nationality card and paperwork, and it's gonna dismiss a case, discharge it, or whatever remedy you're looking for in court, and that is just simply not the case. People are highly mistaken, and pretty soon I'm gonna do a lecture on it. I don't know if I'm gonna do a webinar or what format I'm gonna do it, if I'm gonna do it on here or Patreon, but I'm gonna have to really break down the difference between status, diplomatic immunity, and the status of a protected person, so people can really get those concepts down. Because people seem to think that if you show up in court with a nationality card, that it's going to change something. And let me be the first to say, if you've ever been to court, they've never asked for an ID in court that I've seen. And I've been to courts all around this country, different types of court, from little JP traffic courts to district courts, federal courts, helping people in cases of all sorts and sizes. And I'm not gonna say that I've been doing it long, but from the work I've done and experience that I've gained in it, they're not looking for an ID when you pull up to court. They have a docket they call a name. They're looking for somebody to answer to the name in their jurisdiction. Now, I have a theory if someone showed up and answered to that name, if they don't have a picture, they wouldn't know it wasn't them. Unless they were to take them down and fingerprint them, because they simply do not ask for ID in court. So, it's not that you couldn't use it for evidence, admitted yourself and things of that sort, but just to be totally honest, it's almost irrelevant when you're in court. If you're already in court and ID was not a part of your case, then you having a nationality card is not, or most likely not, going to change the course of the case. Now, I don't want people to get me wrong and think that Moors don't have status. There's not things we can do. There's not remedy we can get. There absolutely is, and I absolutely help people with it. But there's stipulations, and I have to be stiff with people. You know, I love Moors, and sometimes I have to tell you or tell Moors, nigga, you stupid. Stop thinking that stupid shit and listen. Because a lot of the information that's being put out there, a lot of the people that speak on law, they go into what I call legal theory, stuff that doesn't actually work in practice. And they don't know it doesn't work in practice because they're not actually out here practicing, litigating, active in these streets. So I wouldn't tell people to do anything or give you advice from experience that I have that was wrong or bad. If I'm giving advice, it's usually because I've tried it or I know someone that has tried it. And we've just had the opportunity to bump our heads fast, find out and even stumble upon some very great sources while looking. When you're in the right frequency, things will pop up. Stuff will overwhelmingly, fall into your lap sometimes. So thinking that just a name correction, a private name correction and proclamation at that is going to be all you need in court, you're sadly mistaken 90% of the time. Unless you have some small traffic case or something like that there, I really doubt that anyone is going to back down, just because, and I've seen, that they don't back down just because you put on your nationality paperwork. You can put in your name correction proclamation all you want to. That will help establish something, but that's not even a tenth of what we would say should be your first initial filing. So, with that being said, I do know that there are Moors out here that, really do need help. And if you're down to the last minute in court, they're finna take you to trial or something like that there, you should have thought about this stuff a long time ago. That is one of the biggest things that I tell people. If you want to get remedy, you have to be prepared long beforehand. If you're trying to get this paperwork, this nationality card to go into court, even if you're sincere, a lot of times what you need to do is handle that case and then come stronger the next time. But when I say handle the case, I don't mean don't fight the case. I'm not saying sign, give up your rights, let them shove it up, No, don't do that. Still give them hell. But you're going to have to take a different strategy. You're going to have to fight that like an actual court case. And I wouldn't suggest you to do anything different. Okay, so let's be clear. Now, if you're going to fight a case, the first thing you should be looking for is the original charge instrument. That's what it's going to be called in most jurisdictions, if not something very similar. They word these things very, very similar in most jurisdictions. So if you're looking for a document that I name, they may call it something slightly different. But follow with me, people. Keep up. And I'm going to try and quickly give y'all a rundown. That original charge instrument, you're basically going to need to do an affidavit, a rebuttal to the original charge instrument. The original charge instrument will be what the cop writes up. His initial claims of what happened on the scene, and you're going to have to rebut that point for point. Not only that, if you bonded out of jail, you're going to need to revoke the bail bond and power of attorney and issue your own and power of attorney. Or in Texas, that's the case. Pretty sure you probably need that power of attorney attached with another bond in other jurisdictions, but people definitely check it out. Don't go directly off my words. Double check everything if this is what you're going to do. I'm not one of these people that say don't listen to what I say, do all the research. Listen to what I say and do the research. Believe me, I'm not going to tell you wrong, but it may be slightly different in your jurisdiction, but it works somewhere exactly like I'm saying for the most part. So, okay, you're going to rebut your original charge instrument. You're going to revoke the bail bond, power of attorney, create your own bail bond and your own bond and power of attorney. From there, uh, if you do have nationality paperwork, it goes along with this first initial filing. You know, name correction proclamation or any of that there. If it's people that's working with me, the your certificate of live birth county deed, the affidavit of independent administration, basically, and all the adjoining documents. Is because you're trying to establish your status, and there's a few things that go with that that are along in our package that you get specifically. If you've got our status correction package, it's only $20, people. I don't see why any more will not get it because it's basically a bunch of documents, a lot of them drawn up by Moor specifically. Some of them actual court, or not court specifically, but legal documents. And some of them can be used in court. Some of them are specifically for court. Some of them for other different purposes. But just jumping back into the case side, once you've done your rebuttal, you need to do an answer, an original answer to whatever the charges are. The thing is, you're going to have to go in and prove that by the definitions of the statutes, codes, ordinances, or whatever you were charged for, that you didn't commit it according to, what they said, that, they charged you with the wrong thing or something. Like, it's nothing too big, but you have to present an answer. Most of the time, they're not going to answer, they're not going to rebut. But the thing is, you have to put these things out here. Had his first, basically, round of filings. And another thing, when you're doing filings of that sort, I always tell people, look into your state's rules of criminal procedure, civil procedure, depending on the type of case. Most people it's criminal, but you're going to want to look into your state's rules of criminal procedure. Now, these rules of criminal procedure are the chess moves that the court you are in works by. So, if you're due a dismissal and you know it because the prosecutor's case hasn't been proven, if you put in evidence to do it, well, the procedure will tell you after what point to file your motion to dismiss. Is it after your answer? After they indict you? Like, there are different things that happen. There are different rounds in court. So with your first rounds of filings, you're going to want to file all, the initial things just to get the case started. And I didn't even mention the civil information sheet or a civil cover sheet, depending on, your jurisdiction. They call it a few other things too, which basically lays out your outline. And y'all can go back and check out some of the videos where I talk about these things, because I definitely get into this stuff. But, that would be your cover page, your outline to go along with this case, and basically to countersue if that's something that you're interested in any lawsuit. The civil information sheet, civil case sheet, civil cover letter, that's the first page, and it's going to lay out your different branches of law, like family law, civil law, criminal law, and it's going to have check boxes for the exact types of offense that was committed, and then it has another section where it'll be asking for what type of remedy are you looking for, monetary, are you looking for a declaratory judgment, or basically, what are you trying to get out of this case? So it's a quick outline, one-page document, most cases that I've seen, so that the judge can see exactly what the case is. So when you hand in a 50-page dossier, going hard at them just like they do with us, that they'll be able to glance over it quickly and see what's going on. Because for the most part, most prosecutors, judges, and all, they're not going to fully read your documentation anyway. So you just want to have, a excellent line, so they can be, as the prosecution, highly offended, that they even have to come back and try and answer to this shit that you didn't put in because you went that hard on them. And this is how you stalemate them with your filings, how you catch them at the point, to stop them or to set aside an indictment. You need to know what these things are in the first place, the different rounds of court. Now, with all of that being said, people, if anyone needs a consultation, you can definitely hit me up. I'll see if I can leave a link in the description, and we can go over these documents. You can get a consultation. You can probably get the status correction package if you don't have it already, because a lot of people that have got it already, it's so much information that they don't know what to do with it, and you need consultations anyway. So, if that be the case, definitely hit me up. I'll leave my email, so everyone can know how to get a hold to me. But, this is just definitely one of them things that it's a lot of Moors out there that think, this is all I got to do. Hey, put this little paperwork in. I need my nationality card, rush it to me so I can get into court. Most of the time, that's not even needed. People taking way too much time, thought, and effort, into simple documents, but they don't have the foundation down, in their mind. You're looking for remedy, and I can definitely understand that. I was there. So, the best course is to really get your paperwork together before you ever even have to go to court. Depending on, no matter what you're trying to do. If you have your documents together, they're trying to make a counterclaim instead of a charge. And that's how you have to basically flip the roles. See, I'll give a real good example. I see all the time Moors trying to do their right to travel, and for whatever reason, there are different reasons, but they may have one little detail that I would say is off in their process, and they get pulled over, they get the ticket, and you're trying to figure out what to do. How do you beat it? Rush it around. You got to go to court. Whether you have regular plates, Moorish plates, one of these nationality cards from someone that doesn't believe in barcodes and thinks that they're the devil. When you get jammed up and now you got to go to court. Well, the thing is, when you're traveling, there are two things that matter the most. Is getting your paperwork in beforehand, your injunction, so they have due notice of who you are, the vehicle you're in, your property, things of that sort. So if they violate you, then you have already a contract in place. You have a separate contract from their driver's license contract. So then all you have to do when going into court is say, hey, you breached this contract that we have. And, I can show y'all how to do this. This is part of our process. But when you have that in place and a proper identification card, which is the other main issue in traveling, then you have a lot more leeway. Because initially when they pull you over, they're looking for an ID card that is up to the standards of the Real ID Act and blah, blah, blah. We know this. Okay. Ours supersede those. So this is an ID card in your hand that is out of your jurisdiction that you can't call fake. Now, if you do want to issue a ticket, hey, I have a contract with your boss. So, I can beat it in court, or you can let me go now and it'll be no issue. But either way, you know beforehand exactly what's going to happen. So there's no need for you to even try and argue with a policy enforcer. Less is more. Um, in the 48 laws of power, number 4, always say less than necessary. You know, I get pulled over. Here's my ID. I right to travel. No more. You really don't need to say any more. You can answer a question, but why do you need to tell them any more information? They know exactly who you are because you have an ID that states who you are clearly up to all of their codes. So you haven't not identified yourself at that point. They can either decide, hey, this person needs a ticket because they're not up to a code or ordinance, or no, I do understand what they mean with this right to travel. I'm gonna just let them go and make it. There are no other options. Now, if they want to get crazy, say, hey, we got to take you down, fingerprint you, blah, 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 da, 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 da. Well, you have your recourse because you already have an injunction on file with the elected sheriff, which is the cop who has jurisdiction in the area. I mean, what, you know, if you're not willing to, at that point, do it, maybe right to travel is not for you, because we know that even though we're exercising lawful processes, that a lot of these people are crooked. They're not playing fair. They move the goalposts when we kick our field goals, so you might get arrested every once in a while. That is a reality if you want to stand up for your rights. But either you're going to let your nuts hang or you're going to cower over. Whatever you want to do. I'm not going to, make a designation, in that matter. But what I will say is if you stand up for your rights, you can get remedy and recourse. You don't necessarily need no paperwork or nothing before you go to court unless it's paperwork you had already on file. If you don't have that paperwork filed, official public record, before you caught the charge, I won't say it doesn't do any good. It does do good. What I will say is it might not help the case that you're trying at. It's just the God honest truth, But what do I know? I ain't never been in no courthouse. I mean, I just help people go to court all over the country. With they cases, I've been to several different courthouses, several different cities, jurisdictions, states. I don't know. You got any questions, whatever, get at me. That's it for now. Peace and love, family.